So our next topic is the study of the rocks. You must have seen in your daily observation that we have different kind of rocks on the surface of the earth. For example, if you go down and pick up, you will see the different color of the rocks. You will see that the shape of the rocks varies. Some rocks are white in color. You look at your floor, if it's a marble floor, it's a white in color. Still it is a very different marble from the marble by which Taj Mahal was made. So, if it's a granite, granite has very, very different colors. Some are red colored granite, some are white colored granite. The more lighter the granite, more costlier it is. Nowadays, we go down, we see that there are different rocks such as sandstone. The rock which is of your flooring is very different from the rock by which the building is being made. So, the rocks keep on varying in size, the rocks keep on varying in structure, the rocks keep on varying in color, the rocks keep on varying in their strength. Example again is, take a granite and try to break it by a hand. Impossible, nearly impossible. But take a chalk, the old chalk we used to write on the blackboard during our school times, take a chalk and try to break it by hand. Possible, very much possible. So granite is also one kind of a rock, chalk is also one kind of a rock. So the rocks also vary depending on what the rock is actually made up of. And if you look at the entire structure of the earth, the topmost layer of the earth is covered by a soil, and soil is made from the rocks. So the topmost layer of the earth will be made up of the rocks and the soil. And these rocks will determine even rocks determine the geology or the soil of an area. For example, many times in my previous lectures I have mentioned black cotton soil, basaltic rock. Basalt is an igneous rock which is black in color, and in India we have black cotton soil in the Deccan Lava Plateau region. Deccan Lava Plateau region, black cotton soil, that means a kind of a soil which is formed due to an igneous rock which is known as basalt, and the weathering of a basalt gives black color to the soil because the basalt itself is a black in color. So the rocks are determined, the soil is determined by different factors, and rock is one of the parent material for the formation of a soil. So the rocks are the collection of different minerals. Not a single rock is a collection of only one mineral. Rock is made up of different minerals. It is an aggregate, or it is a collection of different minerals. It is the collection of due to different climatic conditions, due to different type of conditions resulting into, and due to different mechanisms. Some rocks are made from lava, some are made from sediment, some are made due to pressure and temperature. So these are the different reasons for the formation of different kinds of a rock. And as a result of this, rocks are having different colors, different size, different shapes, etc. So if we try to define the rock, how can we define the rock? So the rocks are collection or aggregate of what? Of different minerals on the surface of the earth. Collection or aggregate of different minerals they occupy or they are found on the crust of the earth. Are found on the earth's crust. So collection or aggregate of different materials found on the earth's crust are rocks. Now these rocks, now if you look at, just for preliminary point of view, you remember the 2 points which I am giving. If you look at the amount of elements on the crust of the earth, versus the amount of elements found on the entire earth. That is, the earth is divided, the crust, we are talking only of the topmost covering of the earth. If we look at the amount of element found only on the crust of the earth, the most abundant or most commonly found element is oxygen, followed by silicon, followed by aluminium, iron and magnesium. Iron and magnesium. So the elements found on the crust of the earth, the most dominant element is oxygen. And if we look at the entire earth, the entire earth, right from crust, mantle and the core, the most abundant elements is iron. The most abundant element is iron, followed by oxygen, silicon, iron, then oxygen, then silicon, then aluminium, magnesium, and then nickel. If you can remember all five, well and good, otherwise just remember the topmost, that is the entire earth is dominated by iron, while the crust of the earth is dominated by oxygen minerals. So this is commonly asked question in the preliminary examination. They will give you statement that the crust of the earth is dominated by the rocks on the crust of the earth, or most abundant mineral found on the crust is iron. Is it a right statement or wrong? That the most abundant element found on the crust of the earth is iron. It is a wrong statement, because the most abundant element found on the crust is oxygen, followed by silicon. On the other hand, if you look at the entire earth, the most abundant element is iron, followed by the oxygen. So you remember the first two. If possible, try remembering all five, but at least remember the first two, that is, elements on the earth's crust, the most dominant is oxygen, followed by silicon. In the entire earth, the crust is the topmost covering, while in the entire earth the most dominant element is iron, followed by oxygen. So the rock is a collection or aggregate of different minerals. Rock may be composed of only one mineral, or may be composed of two or more minerals. They are found on the crust of the earth. They are generally found on the earth. They are found, that is, the earth's crust is composed of rock. We cannot write this statement properly. We can say that the earth's crust is made up of rocks, now based on their mode of formation, we classify the rocks into three types based on how they are formed. So the three types of rock, one which we have already done while studying the volcanoes, is there are three types of rocks based on the mode of formation. We classify the rocks into igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. We classify the rocks into three types: the igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and the metamorphic rocks. The igneous rocks are formed during volcanic eruption, cooling and solidification of magma inside the earth and lava outside the earth. Sedimentary rocks. The word sediment means pieces. So these are the rocks which are formed due to sediments, that is breaking down of the original rock, formed due to sedimentation. That is breaking and compaction of original parent rock. This is just for your understanding. We are going to study this in detail. And the metamorphic rock is the rock which is formed due to intense pressure or intense temperature. That is, if an original rock, for example igneous rock, if an original granite, if it is subjected to intense pressure and intense temperature, there will be change in the property of a rock. It will turn into a metamorphic rock. Similarly, an original sedimentary rock, for example coal, if you are putting it under too much intense temperature, that is metamorphism occurs and the same carbon is converted into diamond, which is an example of a metamorphic rock. So coal, sedimentary rock; diamond, metamorphic rock; granite, igneous rock; marble, metamorphic rock. So these are the three different kinds of rocks. Now first, igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and the metamorphic rock. This is just an brief overview. Igneous rocks are formed during the volcanic eruption due to cooling and solidification of magma. Sedimentary rock due to the process of sedimentation, that is breaking down and compaction of original rocks. And the metamorphic rocks are formed due to intense pressure and intense temperature. Now studying each and every rock with the important properties, we will first start with the igneous rocks. This igneous rocks, as the name suggests, what does the word igneous means? Igneous has come from the word ignis. The word igneous has come from the Latin word ignis, which means fire. So the rocks which are formed due to fire, that is the literal meaning. But in geography, the rocks which are formed, what is a fire? Molten rock, material, magma. During a volcanic eruption, when is the fire? During the volcanic eruption. So the rocks which are formed due to volcanic eruptions, that is due to the cooling and solidification of magma and lava, are known as igneous rock. If the cooling and solidification is magma means inside the surface of the earth, they are known as the intrusive igneous rock. If they are formed due to cooling and solidification of lava outside the surface of the earth, they are known as extrusive igneous rocks. Intrusive igneous rocks we have already done: sill, dike, batholith, lopolith, lapolith. Extrusive igneous rock, the best example is basalt, flood basalt, that is the rock which comes out. So the Latin word igneous rocks means the rocks which are formed due to volcanic eruptions. Now, during the origin of the earth was like a ball of fire. Now it there was a very heavy rainfall, and as a result, and due to spinning, the earth contracted and solidified. So this molten lava, which was where there was very high temperature, but after that the cooling happened and the earth contracted and solidified, resulting into formation of first rocks. So the first rocks on the surface of the earth were the igneous rocks. So these are the first rocks which were found on the surface of the earth, and hence they are known as primary rock or the parent rock. So some of the important properties of the igneous rocks, you can take down some of the important properties of the igneous rocks. They are formed due to cooling and solidification of molten material, that is magma or lava, that is magma inside the earth, lava outside the earth during volcanic eruption. During volcanic eruption. So these are the rocks which are formed during an volcanic eruption. Now, as I told you, initially earth was like a ball of fire, then it contracted. So these were the first rocks formed on the surface of the earth, and therefore they are known as primary rocks or parent rocks. So if the word is primary rocks, then that means it is an example of an igneous rocks. The next important property is igneous rocks are crystalline rocks. These are crystalline rocks, that is, they have crystals. Now we have already done in the volcanoes why they are crystalline rock, because they are formed due to cooling and solidification. So cooling will always result into development of crystals. Now will they be having same size of a crystals? Remember your volcanoes lecture, the size of a crystals will depend on their location. If they are cooled at a very very faster rate, there will be no time for development of a crystals, and as a result very very small crystals will be formed. So the rocks which are outside the surface of the earth, that is extrusive igneous rocks, will have no crystals or will have very fine crystals. As a result, or very very small crystals. Example is basalt. You cannot see the crystals in basalt with the naked eye. On other hand, if they are cooled at a very smaller or very slow rate at the interior of the earth, there is enough time for the development of a crystals, and as a result of this, large crystals are seen on those rocks. Look at the granite floor. Anywhere you are having a granite floor, look down, or you can check out next time that the granite will be having crystals. So the granite is an intrusive igneous rock formed inside the surface of the earth, and therefore there has been enough time for the development of crystals, resulting into that rock being an crystalline rock. So these are crystalline rocks, and the crystals depend on cooling and solidification of magma or lava. If cooled and solidified inside the earth, then large crystals are formed. Why? Because cooling occurs slowly. And therefore there is enough time for the development of crystals. So if the cooling occurs inside, then it is slow, resulting into large crystals. On the other hand, if the magma or lava is solidified, cooled and solidified outside the surface of the earth, that is in the exterior of the earth, then the cooling occurs quickly. Then there are small crystals or sometimes no crystals, that is very tiny crystals are formed, or sometimes even no crystals. Why? Because cooling occurs very fast. So this, you just look at these two statements here. I will derive one question out of it. If cooled and solidified outside the surface of the earth, then fast cooling and then hence small crystals are formed. So the igneous rocks are crystalline rocks. That means, can we say that the size of crystals in the igneous rocks depend on certain conditions? The size of the crystals will depend on what? I'll give you three options. The size of the crystals will depend on, one, rate of cooling. Yes. Is it right or wrong? Yes, it will depend on rate of cooling. Slow cooling, large time for development of crystals. Second, it will depend on the location, that is whether the cooling has occurred, yes or no. That is, look at here, look in the definition, look in what we have written, that is, there will be large grained or coarse grained igneous rocks, that is, it will occur on location, yes, and it will occur on maybe some other factor like climate. Not really dependent, because if there is a rainfall and all occurring, then it's a different thing. But you should remember that the cooling of the igneous rocks or the size of the crystals depend majorly on the rate of cooling and location, where it is inside the earth or outside the earth. These are the two major factors. Then the other minor factors may be there, but these are the two major factors which we can be asked in the examination. If there are other factors, that is plate tectonics or some other factors, earthquakes and all, obviously these are not the factors. So the rate of cooling of the crystals or the size of the crystals, the texture of the crystals depends on the rate of cooling and depends on the location, that is whether inside or outside the earth it has taken place. Then igneous rocks. Then the fourth property of the igneous rocks is that igneous rocks do not have fossils, or the fossils are not found on the igneous rocks. Now, why the fossils are not found in the igneous rocks? How are the igneous rocks? That is, if you go and search for what are the fossils, remains of dead plants and animals. So if you want to search for fossils on the Deccan lava plateau region, it is an igneous rock formation, then there is a very few chance, unless there is only some top covering of a sedimentary rock, but if you go and found fossils in the Deccan plateau, you won't find fossils. Same thing, Iceland you won't find any fossils. Siberia you won't find any fossils. Why? Because there were two reasons. First, our first property, they are known as parent rock. So they were the first rocks to be formed. So when they were formed, there was no life on the earth. This is the one reason. And the second reason is igneous rocks are formed due to molten lava, molten magma. Now this molten magma and molten lava is so hot, that is, it is having so high temperature that it destroys whatever the fossils are there on the surface of the earth. So these are the non-fossiliferous rocks, or they do not contain fossils due to high temperature of molten lava and magma, and also due to, as they were the first rocks to be formed. So, and the last property of the igneous rock is they are found in large structures, or they are found in enormous structures, or they are found in very, very huge structures. Such as volcanic mountains, batholiths. So they are found in a massive formations, massive landforms, massive structures they make. So such as batholiths, volcanic landforms. So these are the properties. What was the first property? Again I am repeating, they are the primary rocks. The second is they are crystalline rocks. Third is they are associated with volcanic activities. Fourth is they do not contain fossils, and they are found in massive structures. So based on this, you should remember these properties, because the application of these properties will be asked for you as one of the property, or they can ask you as an answer. That is, for example, will the fossils be found in the igneous rocks or not? So obviously the answer is no. Batholiths are made up of what? It is made up of igneous rocks. Which igneous rock? Intrusive igneous rock. Example then it should come to your mind is granite. So this is how the questions in the examination are generally asked. So the igneous rocks. Now the classification of igneous rocks. The igneous rocks can be classified as simple as magma or lava. We can have already done. They can be classified into two types. One are acidic igneous rocks, and the other one is basic igneous rock. We have already done this in the acidic lava and basic lava. Just to revise this very quickly, what are the acidic igneous rocks? Acidic igneous rocks which have higher content of silica. They have higher content of silica. Around 65% to 85%. They have higher content of silica, between 65 to 85%. They are lighter in color. They are lighter in color. Now can we write they are less fluid and more viscous? No, that is a property of magma. Acidic magma, because magma is a molten rock. Rock is always a solid structure, so you should not write it here in this that it is not a property. They are lighter in color because they are dominated by, due to dominance of silica and feldspar. Hence they are also known as, because of their dominance of feldspar, they are also known as felsic igneous rocks. They are also known as felsic igneous rocks. They are also known as felsic igneous rocks because they are dominated by the feldspar. Okay. Now the basic igneous rocks have lower content of silica. They have lower silica content, the same property as the basic lava, that is between 40 to 60%. They are dominated by denser materials and darker materials. Such as iron and magnesium. Iron and magnesium. Therefore, they are known as mafic igneous rocks, that is darker igneous rocks. They are known as mafic igneous rocks. They are known as mafic igneous rocks because they are dominated by. Now, because they are known as mafic igneous rocks, they are darker in color and mafic igneous rocks. Example, the best example of acidic igneous rock, as we said, acidic lava, example is granite. Here the example is basalt. Now apply your knowledge of again volcanism. Granite continental crust is made up of which? Basalt or granite? It is made up of granite. That is why it cannot flow. It is viscous. While the oceanic crust is made up of basalt. It is fluid. So if they ask you which rock is having more density, is it acidic igneous rock or basic igneous rock? Why oceans are at lower place? Why the oceanic crust is at a lower place? Why does it go below the continental crust? Remember your plate tectonics lecture, because the oceanic crust is having higher density. So remember that basic igneous rocks are more dense and heavier than the acidic igneous rocks, which are less dense. So on the basis of acidicity and the basicity, we are classifying the igneous rocks into two parts, that is the acidic igneous rocks and the basic igneous rocks. The acidic igneous rocks have higher percentage of silica, that is around 65 to 85%. The basic igneous rocks have lower silica content, that is between 40 to 60%. They are lighter in color because of dominance of feldspar, and hence they are known as felsic igneous rocks. They are darker in color because of the dominance of iron, especially iron and magnesium, but you remember iron, and therefore they are known as mafic igneous rocks. The example is granite, darker in color. Example is basalt, black color. That is why black cotton soil. And obviously acidic igneous rocks are less denser than the than the basic igneous rocks, which are obviously more dense. So this, now based on their, just have a look at this. Now based on the size of the crystals, they can be classified into So based on the location, we have already done the three kinds of location of the igneous rocks. The igneous rocks are classified into plutonic igneous rocks, they are classified into hypabasal igneous rocks, they are classified into extrusive igneous rocks. This classification is based on what? Location. Plutonic igneous rocks are found deep inside the earth. They are found just beneath the surface of the earth. And obviously extrusive are found outside on the surface of the earth. Now the question is based on which kind of the rocks of these three rocks will have larger crystals: extrusive, hypabasal and plutonic. Now again you come to the what we have studied, that the bigger the crystals, the deeper the rock is, bigger will be the crystals. So the plutonic igneous rocks will be very, very coarse grained rocks having bigger crystals. What do you mean by coarse grained? That means the size of the crystals. This will be fine grained, medium grained, this will be medium grained. That is the medium size of the crystals, and this will be fine grained igneous rocks. Fine grained igneous rocks. This will be fine grained igneous rocks. That is very, very small crystals. Now, based on the size of the crystals, this is only on the location, based on the size of the crystals, you don't have to remember each and everything, this for the mains examination, but obviously it is required for the preliminary examination, that they will ask you hypabasal igneous rocks means what, or pegmatic igneous rocks means what. That is, it is having very coarse grained crystals. So based the classification, just for preliminary point of view, classification based on size of the crystals. They are classified as pegmatic igneous rocks, then phaneritic igneous rocks, then phaneritic igneous rocks, then aphanitic igneous rocks, aphanitic igneous rock, aphanitic igneous rocks, and lastly glassy igneous rocks. Glassy igneous rocks. So the size of the crystals, just for preliminary point of view, you remember the pegmatic igneous rocks means very coarse grained crystals. that is based on the size of the crystals. So these are very, very coarse grained. That is very large crystals. So if the question comes, very large crystals are found in pegmatic igneous rocks. These are large crystals, so we say they are coarse grained. So large crystals are found in phaneritic igneous rocks. Aphanitic igneous rocks are fine grained, that is small crystals. That is small crystals. And there are some of the igneous rocks which are so smooth, that is there are no grains at all. They are known as glassy igneous rocks. So they are having no crystals or no grains in the igneous rock. So these are the 4 types of classification only for the preliminary point of view. What do you mean by pegmatic igneous rock? Example of this, granite. Example of this and this is basalt. That is, there are some basalts which are cooled very faster rate, resulting into glassy basalt. There are some of the basalts which are cooled at a normal rate, resulting into formation of a fine grained igneous rocks. So some very deep plutonic batholith, for example, deepest part, so coarse grained, very coarse grained granite. And sill dike, which is nearer just beneath the surface of the earth, that is hypabasal. Example will be these 2 types of grains. So these are the classification of the igneous rocks. Now the intrusive igneous rocks and extrusive igneous rocks we have already done, so refer to that in the volcanic chapter. That is, what are the intrusive igneous rocks? These are sill, dike, batholith, lapolith, locolith are the intrusive igneous rock. So now here, continuing with the two main types of rocks, here we will continue with the granite versus basalt rock system. Sometimes the questions are asked in the examination and they will ask you to identify the kind of a rock. Maybe the 4 points are given. First, it is an example of a felsic igneous rock. Second, having low density. Or third, they can ask you, it is an example of an extrusive igneous rock. Intrusive. Is acidic igneous rock. So what is this rock? So felsic, low density, intrusive igneous rock, acidic igneous rock, these are the properties of the granite. Or they can give you some of the major these things, that is high content of iron. And they can ask you that what will be the properties of a granite? A, B, C, D. One option A, B, C. One option A, D, C. One option all of the above. So what are the properties associated with the granite? Obviously granite is an example of an felsic igneous rock having lower density as compared to the basaltic igneous rock. It is an example of an intrusive igneous rock. It is acidic rock, but it has lower content of iron but higher content of silica. So the option here becomes, the right answer is A, B, C and D. From this lecture onwards, I will be giving you some of the questions which will be asked in the preliminary examination based on what is your knowledge level, based on what we have done, so that you can test your progress, so that you can test your knowledge level or how much you understand. If you cannot answer, most of the questions will be the combination of past year questions as well as some of the good questions from where. So if you cannot answer any of the question, you may refer back to that topic where you have not understood. So coming to this, first, that means we have to study the 2 important rocks, that is the granite and the basaltic rock system. The first rock is granite. What is an granite? Granite is an intrusive igneous rock.
It is an intrusive igneous rock, therefore it cools very very slowly inside the interior of the earth. Because of low rate of cooling, there are big crystals or large crystals are formed on the granitic rock. Then it is an example of felsic rock, that is, it is white color. Why it is lighter in color? Why? Because of the larger content of silica. The larger content of silica also signifies or denotes that it is an example of an acidic rock. And because it is an example of an acidic rock, most of the granites do not flow for a larger distance before solidifying. So the granites, now you must have seen the granite. Granite is an example which is generally present in everyone's house, generally on the floor, or granite can be seen in malls or anywhere, any of the infrastructure project. So you should know that one of the most economically important intrusive igneous landform or intrusive igneous rock is a granite. Now, how is granite? Granite, is it crystalline or is it very plain? You must have seen that granite is always having crystals. You won't see any granite which is plain. The size of the crystals may vary depending upon the area where it is cooled. If it is cooling too much beneath the interior of the earth, obviously the granite will be of a larger crystals. If it is cooling near the surface of the earth, there will be smaller crystals. Now, granites vary in color. One of the most dominant mineral which is found in the granite is feldspar. Feldspar is one of the most dominant color, and there are numerous minerals which are found in the granite. From your examination point of view, because it is a GS point of view, what you have to remember is the granite is an aggregate of many minerals, and the variations in the colors of the granite. Some granites are red in color, some are black in color, some are white granites, some are greenish granites. The variation in the granites will be because of the different composition of the minerals. Now, what are these different composition of the minerals? How much variation will be there? Not required for the GS point of view, even not required from the civil services point of view. Be very focused on your syllabus, because the syllabus is so vast that if you are not focused, there are chances of you losing your focus and you searching for many irrelevant things. So first, about granite. Granite is an example of plutonic. What do you mean by plutonic? Deep inside the earth, intrusive, igneous rock. It is an example of plutonic intrusive igneous rock. It is an example, that means it is an plutonic intrusive igneous rock. Then second is why it is a crystalline rock, and the size of the crystals is generally large crystals. Why the size of the crystals are generally large crystals? Plutonic, because it cools very slowly. Very slowly inside the interior of the earth. Inside the interior of the earth. Now this granite here, because it cools very slowly, it is having large amount of crystals, and obviously the size of the crystals will keep on varying. So you remember that it is a coarse grained igneous rock. Feldspar is one of the most abundant mineral. Feldspar is one of the most abundant mineral. Feldspar is one of the most abundant mineral found in this region, in the granite, sorry. Feldspar is one of the most abundant mineral, and due to, as it is made up of different minerals, as it is made up of different minerals, there is variation, large scale variation in the colors of the granite. There is large scale variation in the colors of a granite. There is large scale variation in the colors of a granite. Now this, it is having higher percentage of silica. It is an example of an acidic igneous rock. And it is an example of an felsic igneous rock, that is lighter in color. Igneous rock. Now, as we have finished, you should, once you remember the word plutonic, you should know that deep inside the earth, crystalline, the thing should come in you. What kind of crystals will be in the granite? It will be coarse crystals. Why coarse crystals? Because it cools in the interior of the earth. Feldspar, you remember from the exam point of view, is the most abundant mineral found in the granite. It has higher percentage of silica. When the higher percentage of silica is there, the rocks are lighter in color. That is why we say them as a felsic igneous rock. And higher percentage of the silica is generally associated with higher acidity in the acid content in the rock. So it is an example of an acid igneous rock. Now, as compared to this granite, there is another kind of an igneous rock which is known as basalt. Basalt is an example of a fine-grained igneous rock. So the next igneous rock is basalt. What are the features we know? It is an fine-grained, extrusive igneous rocks. It is a fine-grained, extrusive igneous rock. Why fine-grained? Because of faster rate of cooling. On the exterior of the earth, on the exterior of the earth. So because it is cooled at a faster rate on the exterior of the earth, some basalts are known as glassy basalts, because they cool at so fast rate and therefore no crystals are formed. And therefore no crystals are formed. So basalt can be a glassy basalt also, that is, there will be no crystals formed. At the end, when we will revise this entire geomorphology, after some lectures, I will show you the real life examples or real life photo of how basalt looks like, so that you can have an idea. And I bet that you must have seen the basalt rock, because it is one of the most common rock found along the Deccan Plateau region. If you are living in that, obviously in this region, you have seen here. It is an example of, chemically it has lower amount of silica, and it is acidic. It is an basic igneous rock. It is an example of a basic igneous rock. It has lower amount of silica, and therefore it is an example of an basic igneous rock. So chemically, It is also known as mafic igneous rock. Why? Because of darker color. And why there is a darker color? The dark color is due to dominance of iron, or due to the dominance of Fe or iron. So the darker color is due to the dominance of an iron. It is having high density, and therefore heavier compared to granite. It is heavier as compared to the granite. So it is an example. These are the important points of basalt. It is heavier rock as compared to the granite rock. Now one more, weathering of the basalt, or when the next topic is basalt gives rise to, or we can say weathering of basalt rocks gives rise to soil known as regur, or it is also known as black cotton soil. It is also known as black cotton soil. It gives rise to a soil which is known as a regur or black cotton soil. Again, here you remember that the feldspar is the most dominant mineral found. Feldspar is the most dominant mineral found. But obviously the feldspar will be, the percentage of the feldspar will be different from that of a granite. So the basalt is a fine-grained extrusive igneous rock. What are the points you should remember? It is a fine-grained, granite is a coarse-grained. It is an example of an extrusive igneous rock, while granite is an example of an intrusive igneous rock. So why fine-grained? Because of the faster rate of cooling. Why the faster rate of cooling? Because it is found on the exterior of the earth. What is the chemical composition? It is having lower amount of silica. Because it is lower amount of silica, we can term it as a basic igneous rock. It is mafic because it is darker in color. The darker in color again due to the lower amount of silica and due to the dominance of iron. This is one of the most commonly asked question in the UPSC examination, is why the black cotton soil is black in color due to dominance of what, or why the basalt is black in color due to the dominance of titaniferous. Ferrous means iron, due to the dominance of iron. It is having high density and it is heavier as compared to the granite. That is why we say that you interrelate, you always try to interrelate. That is why we say that Sial, that is the continents are made up of Sial, it is lighter as compared to the Sima, that is the oceanic floor. Sima means the basaltic floor and the Sial means the granitic floor. Now, weathering of the basalt gives rise to a soil which is known as regur, or it is also known as the black cotton soil. Some of the basalt cool at such a faster rate that they are known as glassy basalt. One of the example again of a glassy igneous rock, one of the best example of a glassy igneous rock is obsidian. Is an example again of a glassy igneous rock. It is again an example of an glassy igneous rocks. Okay. So the fine-grained extrusive igneous rock, due to the faster rate of cooling, chemically lower amount of silica, is known as the basalt. It is mafic. Because why it is mafic? Because it is darker in color due to the dominance of iron. Dominance of iron, higher density, heavier, and it gives rise to a soil which is known as regur. Now this is known as the black cotton soil. Now just for the exam point of view, you remember if they ask you, if they give you the three different kind of rocks, granite is coarse grained, that means larger crystals. Basalt is fine grained igneous rock, and obsidian is having non-crystalline or no crystals. It is having no crystals, therefore it is an example of an glassy igneous rock. See, the questions can be asked as a statement also. They will give you the statement that the basalt is a coarse grained igneous rock, whether the statement is true or false. What is the basalt? It is a fine grained igneous rock. So the statement is obviously false. Granite is a coarse grained igneous rock. Whether the statement is true or false? Yes. The example of a glassy igneous rock is obsidian. Whether the statement is true or false? Yes, it is a true. The glassy igneous rock, the example is an obsidian. So that ends with our igneous rocks. There are some of the topographies of the igneous rocks such as mesa, bate, which I will do in the erosion part, which I am not covering in this part, so that you will have a better idea of those topographies while doing the erosional part. The next kind of a rock is an sedimentary rock. The word sedimentary rock has been derived from the word sediments. The sedimentary rock has been derived from the word sediments. Sediments means pieces, broken down pieces. Now, the sedimentary rocks are example of rocks which are formed due to breaking of original rock. What is the original or a parent rock? The parent rock, initially when the earth was formed, the parent rock was igneous rock. That the first rocks which were formed. The parent rock, igneous rock, was broken down due to different agents. Maybe due to wind, due to water, due to ice, due to some kind of an external force. Or they were formed due to chemical reaction, they were broken due to imbalance, disturbance in the equilibrium due to heat, rainfall, etc. And the small pieces which were broken down were compacted with the help of some other kind of a rock. For example, clay was used as a compacting material, or some other rocks may be used as a compacting material. Sand was used as a compacting material. Now this rock, that is the original igneous rock, after breaking down it formed a new rock. It is an example of a sedimentary rock. So the word sediment means small pieces or broken down materials of an original rock. So the rocks which are formed due to compaction, cementation. What do you mean by cementation? Again, a compaction of the original rocks. Of some other rocks, original rocks are known as sedimentary rocks. So the parent rock can be an igneous rock, will give rise to, breaking down will give rise to the sedimentary rock. Original sedimentary rock can also be broken to give rise to the sedimentary rock. Metamorphic rock can also be broken to give rise to the sedimentary rock. So the breaking down of an original rock will give a sedimentary rocks. The rocks which are formed due to breaking down of the sediments or breaking down of the pieces are known then as the sedimentary rocks. So, What are the sedimentary rocks? Rocks which are formed due to breaking of, after breaking, compaction, and cementation. The rocks which are formed sediments due to breaking of sediments, then compaction and cementation from the older rocks are known as sedimentary rocks. Are known as sedimentary rock. See, no rock is in the constant shape. The rocks keep on breaking. Even if there are some of the weaker rocks which you will step on them, break. Chalk is an example of a rock which you can break. Coal is found in the very big seams, you can break. So obviously this all process is known as making of the sediments, and this process is known as the process of sedimentation. So the rocks which are broken down due to collection, that is breaking, then compaction and cementation from an original rock is known as the sedimentation, are known as the sedimentary rocks. So the original rock can be igneous rock, it can be sedimentary rock, and it can be metamorphic rock. So when this all break into sediments, then they are compacted, they are cemented, a new rock is formed. This is known as sedimentary rock. The process of compaction and cementation. Compaction means collection. The broken down materials are getting compact, and due to pressure they are getting cemented. That means they form a new kind of a rock structure. This process of compaction and the cementation of a rock is known as lithification. It is known as lithification. So the lithification is a process which means making of lith. Lith is a rock. So monolith is a single rock. There are some of the statues you must have done in history, in art and culture. These are known as monolithic structures. Monolithic means single rock structure. So this is what does lithification means? Lithification means making of a rock. It involves compaction and cementation of an original rock structure. This is known as a process of lithification. So the original rock can be igneous rock, sedimentary rock, or the metamorphic rock. It is lithified to form an next kind of an sedimentary rock. Now based on this, why are the rocks broken? Rocks are broken due to erosion, these are broken due to either weathering, which will be our next topics, and erosion. So these two are the remaining topics in geomorphology. What do you mean by weathering and erosion? They are broken due to weathering and erosion. So the original rock formed due to compaction and sedimentation from the rocks which is formed due to compaction and sedimentation from the older rocks is known as the sedimentary rocks. The original rock can be igneous rock, sedimentary rock, or the metamorphic rock. You remember the two terms here, the compaction and cementation. These two terms are known as lithification. So the process of lithification is involved in the sedimentary rocks. Now, there are some of the important characteristics, same like the characteristics of igneous rock, that is, they do not contain fossils. They are an examples of a crystalline rock. There are some of the important characteristics of the sedimentary rock. So, what are the important characteristics? See, take an example of one important feature. Just look at an example, this here. Now, if a river is flowing through this region, through the mountain, obviously the river is carrying some amount of sediments, that is the small particles, soil. Once the river comes down, its speed decreases, and after that, again the speed of a river decreases, and it ultimately goes and meets the sea or the ocean. When the speed of a river decreases, it starts depositing some kind of an sediment. So, it is depositing obviously some kind of an sediment. So, this is one layer of a sediment which has been deposited during the once upon a time. After that, the subsequent again river flow will deposit another layer of an sediment above this. Obviously, the depth the river will keep on cutting through this, so you won't see the river, you will see somewhat like this. That is, the river is flowing through this channel. But then the third may be some kind, there is a continental change, there is a change in the continental drift, the speed of a river may have increased or decreased, it will result into deposition of a third layer of a sediment. So as a result of this, the sediment layers will be deposited in some kind of layers. That is, one layer of a sedimentary rock, then the second layer of a sedimentary rock, then the third layer of a sedimentary rock, the fourth layer of a sedimentary rock, and thus the layer of the sediments will keep on varying. This is one of the most important characteristics of a sedimentary rock, not of an igneous rock, not of a metamorphic rock, because there is no continuous flow of magma or lava. Lava flows and it is deposited. You do not see the layers, but because the river is flowing, it is depositing. Then the second layer of the sediments will keep on depositing. The original sediment which was deposited, it may have different characteristics. Being exposed to the climate, it may become darker in color than the newer soil which will be formed, which will be lighter in color. So as a result, you can see the rocks are formed in the layers. So one of the most important characteristics, one of the most important keyword you should remember in the sedimentary rocks, that the sedimentary rocks are deposited in layers. That is, they are found in layers. So one of the most important characteristics is these rocks are found in layers. And therefore they are known as stratified rocks. That is, these rocks are formed because they are derived from older rocks, they are deposited in different layers. Maybe the older rock once upon a time was an igneous rock, then after that the older rock may be a basaltic rock. So obviously you will find you can differentiate the different layers of a sedimentary rock. So they are found in layers, and because they are found in layers, they are known as stratified rocks. They are known as stratified rocks. So the key word which you should remember once we say the sedimentary rock is they are stratified rocks. They are laid into different stratas or different layers. The key word you should remember when we say igneous rock is they are crystalline rocks. Okay. So they are arranged in layers, therefore they are known as the stratified rocks, or therefore they are called as stratified rocks or the second important characteristics of an igneous rock, of a sedimentary rock, is once upon a time, obviously, there used to be dinosaurs roaming on the earth. After that, when some kind of the dinosaurs got extinct, they got buried deep inside the earth. Many wild animals, many fossils are found buried deep inside the earth. Now this is one of the why, in which kind of a rocks these fossils will be found. They will be found only in the sedimentary rocks. Of all the kind of rocks in the world, only sedimentary rocks will have fossils. Why? Because, for example, if there is an igneous rock, if this is a fossil of an elephant which is found in the surface of the earth, if it is an igneous rock, the molten lava will come and destroy it. A metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock is a rock which is found due to extreme temperature or extreme pressure. Extreme pressure will destroy this, extreme temperature will also destroy this. But if it's a sedimentary rock, one layer of a sediment will come and bury it. It won't destroy, because these are small particles. These are just nothing but, if you keep on scratching this wall, even the particles of the wall will fall down and it becomes in sediments. So it is like a dust which is cover the fossils. Next, some other fossil, for example, a fossil of first this was a fossil of a dinosaur, then some other fossil of an mammoth or elephant. So the next layer of the fossils, human beings which are there, maybe there is some kind of a natural disaster. For example, avalanche is there, for example, tsunami is there, then many people got dead and buried inside, or even an earthquake is there, they got buried deep inside the earth, or in the animals also got buried due to some kind of a natural phenomena. So their fossils will be found in this layer. So the third layer of an sedimentary rock. What does this three layers show? What is the conclusion we can draw? The first conclusion we can draw is the sedimentary rocks contains fossils. These are fossiliferous rocks. Why? These are the only rocks in the world which contain fossils, no other rocks. Why the igneous rock is not having fossils? Lava will destroy. Why the metamorphic rock will not have fossils? Because the extreme heat and extreme pressure will destroy the fossils. The first conclusion is they contain fossils. The second conclusion is the age of a sedimentary rock, or how old is the sedimentary rock. Can we declare it with the help of fossils? Now look here again at this very good diagram. So obviously consider this as a fossils of different animals. Now red color you consider in the third layer as a fossil of a dinosaur. So can we say that because the dinosaur is buried in this third layer of the rock, it is the oldest rock? Obviously the age of a dinosaur, we knew that they were around some billion years ago in a period which was known as Triassic period. So that means the sediments were of the Jurassic period. Then coming to the second layer, if it's of some other animal which was formed in the later period, it is buried in that second layer. Can we say that then it belonged to the second layer? Yes, it belonged to the second layer. The third is of the recent origin. If it is having the fossils of recently died human beings, recently died animals, then can we say it is of a recent origin, this sedimentary rock? Yes, that means the sedimentary rock is of a recent origin. So the second important characteristics or a property of a sedimentary rock is they contain fossils. They contain fossils. In fact, these are the only rocks in the world having fossils. These are the only rocks in the world having fossils. And the third is the age of a sedimentary rock can be determined the age of an sedimentary rock can be determined with the help of age of a fossil found. The age of fossil found. with the age of an fossil found. So this is the second important characteristics of a sedimentary rock. Now, why are the sedimentary rock found? Because they are formed due to the agents of erosion and weathering, that is the breaking down of the rock. Which rock? The topmost layer of the rock. So you remember that the sedimentary rock is like a tablecloth, that is the entire crust of the earth, entire crust will be covered. This most part of the earth's crust will be covered by the sedimentary, a thin layer of an sedimentary rock. If this is the layer of an earth's crust, you just remember that the topmost layer of the earth's crust, the reddish color, will be the covering of a sedimentary rock. The dust which settles on our houses, if that dust is allowed to settle for long period of time, the dust will get thick, compacted, and if it allowed to settle for a very, very long period of time, it will be converted into a rock. So that is what will be the sedimentary rock. So you remember the third property is the sedimentary rock is found all along the globe, that it covers the largest area on the surface of the earth is by the sedimentary rock. But if we try to see the volume of a sedimentary rock or the composition of the earth's crust, then we will see that because it covers only a thin area, it does not occupy much volume. The most of the earth is composed of metamorphic rock and the igneous rock, that is when we take the slice of the entire crust. But if we just look at the top layer of the crust, we will see that it is mostly covered by the igneous rock. So that means, what is the conclusion? One of the third important point from the exam point of view is that the sedimentary rock cover the largest area of the surface of the earth or of the earth. But when we look at the composition of the entire crust of the earth, then we should know that the crust is mostly made up of igneous or metamorphic rock. That is, you can remember that the sedimentary rock is just like a tablecloth, a thin covering on the table, or like a bed sheet, a thin covering on the bed. It is not a part of a bed. It is just a thin covering, but the entire bed is composed of some other cloth materials, some other materials. The same thing sedimentary rock is like a bed sheet. Bed is the crust of the earth, which is like which has mostly igneous rock and metamorphic rock. So the third important characteristics of a sedimentary rock is it covers the largest area of the globe, but they compose constitute only only 5% of composition of Earth's crust. They form only 5% of the composition of the Earth's crust. They cover the largest area of the globe, but they constitute only 5% of the composition of the Earth's crust. Then one of the fourth important, these are non-crystalline rocks. They are non-crystalline rocks. Which are the crystalline rocks? Igneous rocks. These are non-crystalline rocks. These are non-crystalline rocks. They are non-crystalline in nature. They are example of an non-crystalline rocks. The fourth property is not found in, they are not found along large, they are not found in large forms such as batholiths, etc., or mountains, etc. See, the mountains are the result of volcanic activity. So the mountains, these are the large forms, bigger forms on the surface of the earth. So the mountains, यहाँ पे you won't find the mountain made up of sedimentary rock. Mountain will be either igneous rock because it is made of lava, or it is formed due to folding activities. That means metamorphic rock. Why? Because of intense pressure which is put during the folding. So you just remember that they are not found in large forms such as batholiths, which etc. form the foot of a mountain. So they are found in the kind of a smaller forms on the surface of the earth. The next important property is the size of the sediments. The next important property is they are well sorted. There is a that is, they are example of a sorted rocks. They undergo sorting according to the, or they are found in a proper sequence. That is, the size of the sediments decrease as the size of the sediments go on decreasing as the transporting capacity decreases. As the transporting capacity of the agent of an erosion decreases. So the size of the sediments will keep on decreasing as the transporting capacity of the agents of different erosion go on decreasing. Now what does this means? This means that, to give you a real life example, take the students itself during just before the start of a year, or before when there is too much time for the examination. What is our general mentality? That we'll read very big reference books, we'll enrich our knowledge, we will read this book, a foreign author book, that is we are going to enrich our knowledge by reading big books. We have big dreams, but that is why, because we are having very very high amount of energy, just the new start. As the time passes on, our energy levels decrease, and then from reference book we come to the standard books. And when just before the examination we are having there is too much of a tension, we cannot have that our energy or the capacity, the brain capacity is focused only on the examination, and we come from the reference book directly to the guide books, that kuch bhi karke guide books padh lo aur exam pass ho jao. The same thing the river is having. Will understand this concept in the erosion. The river is having large amount of high transportation capacity, that means high energy, when the speed of a river is very fast. It is generally in the mountainous region. When it comes to the when it comes to the area having a gentle slope, the speed of a river decreases. That means the energy of a river decreases. That means its transportation capacity decreases. So it will start depositing the sediments. Which sediments will be deposited first? सबसे पहले आप reference book छोड़ दोगे exam के time. You will come to the underlined notes or standard books, और उसके भी बाद at just the day before examination only notes. So the same thing you apply here, that is you will leave The river gives away the biggest and the biggest sediments first. Then the river medium sediments, then the river smaller sediments. This you will see in the concept of an alluvial fan at the foot of a mountain, jahan pe the river ki speed decreases, big stones are first deposited, then the medium stones, and then the smaller stones, because as the river is coming down, its speed goes on decreasing. As a result of this, as the river is coming here, there is a sudden decrease in the speed, so it is first throwing away or depositing the larger stones, then the smaller stones, and then the smallest, and near the mouth of a sea or mouth of the minutest of the sediment, which the sands are made on the beaches. So we will see that they undergo sorting from the larger sediments to the smaller sediments. This is the next property. Now one more property of the sedimentary rock is the sedimentary rocks are, because the sedimentary rocks, you know that one property is the sedimentary rocks are laid down in the layers. That is, this is one layer of a sedimentary rock, this is the other layer of a sedimentary rock, this is the third layer of an sedimentary rock. That is, they are found in the layers, they are found in different kind of layers. For example, this is one kind of a sedimentary rock, this is the second kind of a sedimentary rock, this is the third kind of a sedimentary rock. The plane, that is the connecting plane, this is one connecting plane between the two layers of a sedimentary rock, this is the other connecting plane between the two layers of a sedimentary rock. The connecting plane between the different layers of a sedimentary rock is known as a bedding plane. So bedding plane, when you say bedding plane, even while doing the sills and dikes, I drew a diagram in which we drew that the sills and dikes get solidified in the bedding planes of a sedimentary rock. So the plane which connects the two layers of a sedimentary rock is known as the bedding plane. So what is a bedding plane? The connecting plane between the layers of a sedimentary rock are known as bedding planes. Bedding planes. So this is an example of a bedding plane, this is an example of a bedding plane. So again, what are the important characteristics of a sedimentary rock? The first important, they are stratified rock, they are laid down in different layers. The connecting plane between the layers is known as a bedding plane. Second, they contain fossils. Because they contain fossils, we can determine the age of a sedimentary rock based on the fossils. That is the sedimentary rocks are the only rocks in the world which contain the fossils. The third is, they cover the largest surface area on the globe. That is only the surface area. But if you look at the composition of the crust deep inside the earth, it is generally made up of igneous and the metamorphic rock, and it is composed only 5% of the sedimentary rock. But the sedimentary rock cover around 75% of the surface area of the globe. These are non-crystalline rocks. They are not found in large massive structures such as mountains, batholiths, etc. Then they undergo sorting. So these are some of the important features of an sedimentary rocks. Now the types of the sedimentary rocks.